Hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today. This is the Research with Lorelei number 4. And this is a little mini-series I put together with regards to research behind brain retraining, neuroplasticity, and mind-body therapies. And I've put the link to the preceding videos in the video description. And my only intention in making these videos is to share a little bit about my journey and some of the research I found interesting and helpful. And my only intention is to help somebody else in their journey. So as always, I'm not a medical doctor or a psychologist or a registered clinical counselor. I'm not a health practitioner. So please take what you find useful and discuss it with your own medical team before you implement anything. Okay, thank you so much. So to get started, I'm going to talk about Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn, who is one of the pioneers in mindfulness. So Jon Kabat-Zinn, he adapted mindfulness and meditation from a Buddhist teaching into a more scientific, secular practice way back in the 1970s. And he and a number of others popularized mindfulness in North America. So there's a lot of research documenting the benefits of meditation and mindfulness. And Dr. Kabat-Zinn produced what he calls the MBSR course. And it stands for Mindfulness Based Stress Reduction. And it's an 8-week evidence-based program. It offers a non-religious, intensive mindfulness training to help people cope with stress, anxiety, depression, pain. And it uses a combination of mindfulness, meditation, body awareness, yoga, and exploration of patterns of behavior. So what you're thinking, feeling, and what you're doing. And as I've talked about mindfulness before, mindfulness can be understood as sort of the non-judgmental acceptance and investigation of what is happening in the present moment. You know, what is your body feeling? What is your what are you thinking? Your internal mental state, your emotions, your impulses, your memories, in order to really reduce suffering or distress and to increase your well-being and intention skills, help you with emotional regulation, and to decrease looping and worry. So BC residents can be referred to the becalm.ca program, which has an 8-week course in mindfulness. It's a $50 registration fee. But there are other mindfulness courses that are also available without a physician's referral, and I'll put some of the websites down below in the video description. MBSR and mindfulness is also taught worldwide. Typical costs are somewhere between 550 Canadian to, a little less or more. Some extended health plans will actually cover the cost of the course if it's taught by a psychologist. And there is availability through different providers for a very nominal fee to take the 8-week course. And I'll put these in the video description. So that's too close. So becalm.ca for BCers. And I found this Imagine Mindfulness website for in the States that has the 8-week mindfulness course for only $55. And they're offering it at such a low fee is because they want everyone to be able to access mindfulness. And so you pay the $55, you get the 8-week full MBSR course, and at the end of it, you can if you feel called to, you can make a charitable donation to help them continue funding the program and offering it to absolutely anyone. So that's a great website. So now a couple papers about mindfulness and how MBSR research has shown that it's extremely helpful. So the first paper I'm going to talk about is by Gotink et al. And it was published in 2016. And it was an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction course, and they found that it produces changes in the brain similar to traditional long-term meditation practice. And so that was they showed that MBSR, mindfulness based cognitive therapy, actually influences brain function and structure. And they used fMRIs and MRIs, and they found that there was functional and structural changes in the prefrontal cortex, which can dampen down the fear, stress, overdrive response. The cingulate cortex and the insula and the hippocampus and the amygdala all showed changes. And basically it showed that the mindfulness does dampen the stress and fear, worry, overdrive. And so that's a good paper, and I'll put that in the video description, the full reference, if you want to read it yourself. And another paper by Morgan et al., published in 2014. I'll put this in the video description as well. Going too close. So they found that the mind-body intervention had a moderate effect on the reduction of C-reactive protein, which is an immune system marker. It's measured in a lot of patients with, RA, lupus, etc. So mind-body intervention in 16 weeks, and they found that there was a moderate effect on reduction of the production of C-reactive protein. So that was a really interesting paper. So, and I will put down a couple other papers that are interesting. So moving on to mindfulness, Kristin Neff, huge fan of Kristin Neff. She has lots of TEDx talks, lots of books. She's a researcher, and so she's got lots of information. So if you want something else practical, Kristin Neff wrote this book called The Mindful Self-Compassion Workbook. It's only like $21. Proven way to accept yourself, build inner strength, and thrive. She wrote that in 2018, and really good research and a very practical workbook on how to increase mindfulness. So that's that book. And CBT, so cognitive behavior therapy. So many papers. I've tried to pick just a few, and I'll put a few extra in the video description. I really like this paper by Holdavecki and Craxion. I can't remember, I don't know how to pronounce it. Behavior, CBT therapy interventions and mindfulness decreases stress and cortisol blood level. So 30 subjects showed decreased levels of cortisol after 3 months of CBT and mindfulness, and they scored much lower on a perceived stress scale. And this is the last one about CBT. See, I'm moving along, aren't I? Trying not to overwhelm you or bore you with so many research articles, because I get really excited about it, but I know not everybody does. So Katie Tai-Eam, very extensive researcher, and lots of papers about CBT and what she calls operant behavioral conditioning treatment. And it is, in my sort of understanding, a lot of sort of neuroplasticity, mindfulness, CBT sort of rolled into sort of a program that she does and research, and treating chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and other papers. So I'll put the links in the video description if you're interested in reading her work. There is some issues with CBT research in that CBT, for research to actually sort of on CBT, there's so many different ways to practice CBT, and it's difficult to compare and get sort of a consolidation of what is actually going on, because somebody might use more of this type of cognitive behavior therapy approach and somebody else might use this kind. So they're getting very different results because their protocols are different. So I think as time goes on, we will get more sort of robust research with regards to CBT and other conditions besides pain. And Deb Dana, what a great writer. She is a great researcher and clinician, and all about sort of what polyvagal theory and how to, polyvagal therapy, how to sort of dampen our sympathetic overdrive. She's got this great book that she just published, Anchored. And so and she sort of summarizes research and theory and practicality all into one book. So I really like that. And meditation. So we're moving right along here. So Daniel Goleman and Richard Davison, sort of very well-known researchers, they actually produced a book called Altered Traits. It's probably at your library. It's at my library. And they do a thorough review of the hundreds of articles in the scientific literature on the benefits of meditation and how we can use our mind to influence our body. So I haven't finished it all yet. So, but it's what I read is really good. And so if you are interested in research with regards to meditation, that is a great book. And Dr. Richardson actually just published a paper entitled Feasibility, Acceptability, and Preliminary Efficacy of an App-Based Meditation Intervention to Decrease Firefighter Psychological Distress and Burnout. So, let's see. Paper there. And so Richard Davison with PACE, they found that there was 35 participants, and they used an app which you can actually download for free. So it's produced by them and their company, Healthy Minds Innovations, and it focuses training on mindfulness, cultivating positive relationships, insight into the nature of the self, meditations, and they found significant reductions in the firefighters' anxiety, burnout, negative affect, that's negative emotions, as well as changes in cortisol, which is that fear, fight, flight related hormone. So I have downloaded the Healthy Minds app. It looks like this, and it's absolutely free right now because, again, it is some charitable institutions have made charitable donations to the Healthy Minds Innovations company, and so they're actually offering this app for free. And it goes through basic foundations and practice about mindfulness and meditation. I'm really enjoying the app so far. I haven't finished it. It's got some, 120 different little lessons and meditations, so not through all of them yet. But I just thought that's so cool. And so they just published a research study on how this can actually decrease your anxiety, burnout, increase happy, positive emotions and decrease your cortisol blood levels. So, and I think I'll put it smart. So it's a smartphone app. The app itself is called Healthy Minds, and I will put how to access that in the video description. So thank you so much for listening and joining me today. I hope you found some of that useful. And as always, if you find something that resonates with you, great. If you don't find that resonates with you, absolutely fine, just leave it. And if you find you're called to make a small charitable donation on my behalf to a charity to thank me for the videos and the work that I'm doing, I would so love it. And if you could message me either on Messenger or on my Instagram account or on Facebook to let me know that happened, I would be so grateful. And wishing you well and happiness and peace in your journey as always. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.